So here we've actually had the SDCC 2012 exclusive arrive from over in America. So this is the outside box that it comes in when you buy it at Comic-Con. So we have Scarah and Hoodude in Coffin Corridor, then Frankie and Draculaura up at the front, with Frankie apparently missing a hand completely, and then the Coffin Corridor picture continues onto the other side, and then we have on the back Claudine, Cleo and Gulia. And Cleo seems to have noticed where the camera is. She always seems to know exactly where the camera is. And then we have the rest of Coffin Corridor there. And they've also actually extended the picture onto the top, so we have the ceiling of the school. I haven't checked on the bottom. And that's where all of the details of things being suitable or not suitable and copyright information is. So that is the outside box, so I'll just get the inside one out now. Oh, and there's also a little skull there from the continuation of the door frame. So here we have the inside box. So we have Scarah in there, and they've arranged it so that she's in her own little coffin-shaped space. And then we have her name in a metallic silver with the Monster High chains. And then this section here velcros out. And then we have a larger coffin shape with both Scarah and Hoodude. And then we have Hoodude's name next to him on the inside flap. A little picture of them in apparently a YouTube video. So we have a blurb here for both of the dolls. And then on the back we also have another bit of information for this pack, which was actually written by Scarah Screams, and that is actually written in Irish. We translated it on Google Translate. It means thank you very much. So there's Scarah and Hoodude on a coloured version of the picture on the outside box. Now the entire sides and top of the box are covered in this metallic cobweb and Monster High symbol patterning. It's also on the front of the box on the flap. I think you can see it a bit better there because the light's shining on it. So we will open up the box and have a look at the two of them on their little Coffin Corridor backing. Okay, so here the two of them are on their backing card. Now we noticed this is pretty much a basic doll-sized box, so in essence Hoodude is pretty much Scarah's accessory. So we have a Coffin Corridor backing. So there's 3 sets of coffins here, and also one on the side panel where they are storing the stand bases and clips. And then we have the coloration for the floor and the separate corridors behind Hoodude. So I actually quite like this idea for the backing, rather than just the ordinary stripes and things that they usually do. I like these fun backings where they actually put pictures on there, which is why I like the backing on the classroom dolls as well. So there's a little clip for Scarah and a big clip for Hoodude, and the 2 bases, and then Hoodude is guarding the stand poles. So well done Mattel for actually giving us a multi-pack that comes with 2 stands again. Yay. Thank you. Please continue to do this and stop taking away the stands in the big packs of multiple dolls, especially with the Skullshoals 5-pack. How is anyone supposed to find that many stands? So we will get them off of the back packaging now and actually show them completely out of their boxes. It's just a quick thing now, before we actually get them out of the box. We just turned it over and noticed that one of the horror stories that you hear online has come true for us with an SDCC exclusive. So basically it's been going around online, mainly on Tumblr, about glue leakage coming from the dolls' scalps with the dolls that are made in Indonesia. Checked on the box, this is one that's made in Indonesia, and we have this big splodge on the silly tags that they put on the back of Scarah's head. So Random is just hoping that it's because of how much gel they've put in her hair to keep it all solid. So hopefully we won't have a glue leak, because that's especially bad since it's an SDCC exclusive.
You paid a lot for it?
Yes, we paid about £66 something for these, including postage, seeing as it was from America. So I'm hoping it's not that bad. Also hoping that we don't have one of those Scarahs that has a bald spot, because a lot of people have said that she's kind of bald underneath her headband. So we'll attempt to get this off, and hopefully she won't have a gluey head. So here we have Scarah and Hoodude out of the box completely. So unlike last year's Comic-Con exclusive, there's no actual accessories in there with them. It's just these two and then their diaries, so there won't really be any accessory talk here. So if we start off with Scarah, so she has a pea green hairband, and it's extremely similar to the one that Ghoulia's basic doll had, but I have compared them and it is a slightly different green. And her hair is very nicely done at the front, at least. She has a nice fringe going on there. Most of the time the fringes are just little triangles that don't really go out the whole way. It's nicely curled over, you can see from the side there as well. And then we get to the back. So as an attempt to get the hair to look curled at the front, they've gelled absolutely everything and given her a massive bald spot. I'm pretty sure that every single Scarah had this bald spot, it's just how it was done. And she was made in Indonesia, so there is some worry about the glue seepage thing. She looks like she has a bit of greasy hair there, it's not particularly pleasant. So she might already have it slightly.
And our box when we got her
yeah,
out again,
if you remember from the box, there was the damp spot. That might be where the damp spot was from, because that is very sticky and not particularly pleasant. So she has this massive bald spot and strange hair, but from the front it looks pretty much okay. This one for some reason is facing the wrong way, but that can't be helped, I guess. So they have actually given her a unique face mould, unlike the Cupid that they did for $1 only. So she has pointy ears there, and I think her nose is slightly different from any of the other ones as well. So the eyes that they've printed on here, she doesn't have irises or pupils. Unfortunately they haven't given her extremely angry eyebrows that she always seems to have in the webisodes. That would have been, I think, a nice thing to have on this doll, but what can you do? So she has a kind of a bluish greyish green coloured lipstick and eye makeup. It's all the same colour pretty much.
I think her nose is a lot more chubby and rounded.
Yeah, she's adorable. She has a bit of a button nose going on, so you can see the little bit there with the ridge. So I think on one of our eyes on this Scarah there's a little bit of black flecks going on. I don't think you can see it very well on the camera there. So I have tried to wipe it away, and it's not hair, it's just black flecks of paint by the looks of things. But it's not too bad. So the outfit she's wearing they got rid of the varsity jacket that they gave her in the promo doll from last year's vote, which is a bit of a shame because it was adorable and more people need varsity jackets. But this is pretty much what she was wearing in the webisode, so I can understand why they did it. So she has a shirt which is the same colour as her headband, and it's a halter neck which does up with a little bit of velcro behind her neck there, rather than a bow as most of them do. So it's just a little kind of a cross between a polo neck and a halter neck there. I think the bottom of ours is kind of ruffled up a bit, but she does have a very thick band where the seam is there. So then she's wearing a kind of a faux leather effect olive green skirt. I'll just move her arms slightly so I can get out of the way. So that's quite nicely textured. And then her little belt, which is a kind of a khaki colour with an olive green buckle. And then they've just put a little bit of detail on the front there. She has, by the looks of it, Frankie's Gloom Beach hand sculpt. And we have compared, she is a slightly different shade of green to Frankie. It's kind of a more desaturated colour, so she's slightly more grey. So then there's something stuck to her leg, I'll just get rid of that. So she has a slight bit of a problem with the seam on her leg, on the inside of that one there. I don't know if you can see it on this camera. And her shoes, she's just wearing a kind of plain pine green heels. They're her 60s style heels, and she has a bit of a gap there where her shoe is obviously far too big for her. So I kind of feel like her retro style is just her rifling through her mum's wardrobe and stealing all of the clothes, even though they don't necessarily fit her. So that is Scarah. I think that's everything to talk about on Scarah herself. The stands weren't particularly great. One of them kept on falling out, so we actually replaced the base with another one that we had. I'll talk a bit more about the stands afterwards. So onto Hoodude, who is quite possibly the accessory of this box. So Hoodude, unlike all of the others, seeing as he is a living voodoo doll, has been made out of fabric rather than plastic, which I think is awesome, but it also makes him slightly bow-legged, difficult to pose. They haven't put any wire in it so you can pose him or anything, so it's just kind of a plush toy that you can put on a stand. So
they also haven't added pins or his...
Yeah, probably for safety reasons they haven't added pins, but we'll probably invest in some, because we need to give him the pin with the feather on his head, because that's an essential part of his character design as far as I'm concerned. So Hoodude's hair has all been made out of a blue velvety type of fabric. They have kind of stapled his hair into his head on the sides to try and style it using the little clippy things that they use to keep the dolls in the boxes. They've given him his little button eyes. It's kind of sewn on in the same way as the Friends plushes were. His face looks slightly terrifying that close up to the screen, like he wants to steal your soul. His face is a lot wider than it was in the animation, but then again all of the guys' faces are wider than in the animation, especially Claude. So we'll forgive them for that. They've given him his little ears, little flap of fabric for his ears. And then they've done the design of the varsity jacket, so he actually does get one, because otherwise he would be naked. One way that Mattel can stop being able to take varsity jackets off of people like they did with Claude. So he has his little heart sewn onto his jacket there. For some reason all of the detailing on this is red rather than pink, which is the school colouring for the jackets. So they've done the little designs for the stitching on his arm there, and all of the stitching actually on him with all of the different coloured fabrics. They haven't done the one at the bottom of his neck though. There was a stitch here with a slightly darker blue. So then where they've tried to attach the legs, I think the same way that they would on the dolls where they're at the side, it hasn't exactly worked because it's just made him bow-legged with his legs flaring out everywhere.
I've just noticed he has a little pot belly.
A little bit. It could just be because the stand's pushing him out a bit, but...
It was not.
So they've done the stitching on there, and then a whole lot of stitching on his knees.
I don't know how
And
well
his
you
little
can
feet.
see it, but it is very, at least two-toned, possibly three-toned.
Yeah, there are 3 different tones. There's the light one, which is almost white, then there's a slightly bluish grey, and then a darker blue colour for the 3 colours of fabric there. And of course they've given him the dreaded giant safety label, so we kind of tried to tuck it behind his stand. And there is a slight kind of shaping on his face. It's kind of given him a bit of a Voldemort nose, but they have tried. So there's Hoodude. I think he's a lot better than in the stock photos we saw of him. He was kind of terrifying in the stock photos. So what I wanted to say about the stands this time round is for both of the other Comic Con exclusives that they've done, there's been a coloured base and then a see-through stand backing. So both of the stands that we get this time round are just basic doll black stands, unfortunately. So nothing really special as far as the stands go. Also no special accessories or anything, but we do have 2 dolls that I doubt they will ever make again, and we have diaries for them as well. So we have Hoodude Voodoo's diary, and he says, "You'll get stuck if you read my journal." And then Scarah Screams, who says, "I'll wail on you if you read my diary." So again, girls are calling it diaries, guys are calling it journals because diaries are too girly. So one great thing that we found about Scarah's diary is that the first thing it says is Heath Burns. So as far as we're concerned, this is pretty much absolute proof that Heath is going to be coming out at some point. That and the fact that the first artwork for him was shown on the bags that came at Comic Con, which unfortunately we couldn't get hold of because they only made about 100. So had they actually been giving them out with the dolls, like they did last year and the year before, we would have gotten one of them as well. Guaranteed, because there's Heath. So that's it for the Comic Con exclusive this year. I know that there's a lot of people online complaining about these with how they weren't able to get them properly and how Scarah has the Indonesian glue head problem. Apparently they are trying to petition for people to bring them out in shops or at least re-release them in different outfits or something. I don't see as that's going to happen.
I'm fairly certain I read something that Mattel said that will not happen.
Yeah, but there is that going on if anyone wanted to go online and find out about that. So we'll be back with more reviews with the new stuff that's coming out then.
Yep.